Greetings, travelers. This is Quintessence. You won't know me because I'm nothing important. Just another player of the terrific game called Guns of Icarus Online. If you peruse through the shop of Steam, you will maybe by chance happen upon this much as I did, and you will see these great images and videos of awesome dogfights and these people playing and all of these things, and you'll go, oh my gosh, I want to go play, and then you log in, and this is what you come up with. So this is going to be kind of an all-inclusive starter's guide. We'll go through by section. We'll start with just this first layout, what it kind of is, what the different components are, and then we'll go into some of the later lessons that will be specific to the different roles that are available, and we can talk about ships and guns. A little about myself. I am relatively new to the game, so I am sure there are much more learned people in the community who will, of course, tell me what a terrible job I've done on this. But, without further ado, let's go ahead and bring it down. So, we will begin by talking about this top section, the options and progress. Some people very cleverly called it the account zone. So in the account zone, you start off with this options. These 5 buttons up here, we'll start with options. Options is exactly what it sounds like, obviously. It is your video, your audio. There are controls you can adjust. One of the big things for me wasn't obviously in this. It was actually in video. There's this field of view change. I have mine all the way up because you can do first person or third person. As a pilot, this is all technical, we'll get into it later, but as a pilot, I like third person, and this expands that field of view. It'll be important later, but I just wanted to point it out because I think it's terrific. The video settings as they start come a little bit lower than what I have mine set to, so keep in mind, if you seem like you could probably handle, or you have a machine that can handle better, go ahead and feel free to pop over to the video settings and bump them up, because they don't actually start on their highest, as many games tend to. We'll go ahead and go over. The next one is the community tab. One of the great things about this game is, of course, the community. It's not the largest playing base. Hopefully we can fix that. But one of the terrific things about the community is that they're actually really great about helping people. So things to note in this. We'll start with my profile. This is obviously your person. It has kind of the quick stats, your latest achievements, your matches, your ratios for what class you get into and everything like that. I'll talk about more about the classes in a little bit, so I don't want to get too much into that. It'll tell you what clan you're in if you're in a clan, and you can actually change your name right here. Leaving that for a little bit. You'll also notice this little menu popped up. We'll discuss that a little bit because it can actually come and go. It just always pops up with the community tab. Next is my clan. If you are in a clan, it'll tell you your clan members, anyone that's online. You can leave, you can send messages, things like that. We'll go back to the community tab really quick. We'll go ahead and go to the clans list, and here, if you aren't in a clan, if you're new, obviously, and you are looking for a clan, because they do help you both find games and meet more people and everything like that, this is a great place to go for it. Maybe. Newest. Newest is probably what you look at. These are the newest 5 clans to be developed. Most active, obviously, is a ranking for how active their members are, fastest growing, how many members they've received, and then commendations. Commendations are the way to acknowledge the great job that a teammate did, or if you're a captain, one of the enemy captains, and how they did a great job. And it's a good way to kind of tell whether not just that a group is active, that a clan is active, but also that, they have pretty stand-up people and people enjoy playing with them. We'll go back to the community tab really quick, and we can go to leaderboards. Super exciting for the clan rankings. Leaderboards. Woo! Yeah. Challenges, events, tournaments, things like that will actually come on here. Obviously, they're not right now. Community ambassadors. One of the awesome things, as I talked about with this great community, is that they have community ambassadors. These are members who have been playing for the game. I believe, you'd have to double check me, somebody. I believe that what it is, in fact, is someone who has been here for at least 6 months, or they might have had to play a certain amount of games, I'm not sure. But you can actually meet them, you can get information. This is the list of CAs that are currently online. And then you can actually apply to be one. That will take you to an external site and everything like that. A really cool thing. It's a great little way to find more veteran players who have a vested interest in the community and improving it. We'll go to progress. Progress is where all your cool stuff that you've done goes into. Obviously, it says your name, you shows your basic stats: plays, wins, kills, points captured, repairs, the little quick details about your favorite ship, what ship you spend the most time on, the most played map, your class preference, who you spend the most time playing, and things like that. It's also where you have achievements. Everybody's greatest favorite thing is the achievements. Achievements, you have all kinds of achievements. You have for the different classes, you have lore and status ones, you have community ones, you have other blah blah blah. We'll talk about the other one in a second. This is mainly just the tutorials and everything like that, which you'll want to do. The other thing is that you can go to your specific stats, and you can look at your, well, as I said, your specific stats for that class. So your captain in this one, I'm a level 6 captain, this is my experience in that one. Spots cleared, rams, blah, 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 all these fun things. Your win streaks, games played, things like that. The final little bit of knowledge comes in with actually the rewards. So when you level up your different classes or you do special achievements, you unlock different items. These are all cosmetic. They do not make you a better player. They simply allow you to show that you have done more. Pilot costumes, gunner costumes, engineer costumes, and all the way down. Badges, like I said, they're just fun little things. They're great. They look good on a wall, and you can bask in the greatness. And then dyes is the other big thing. Dyes come into play when you want to start coloring and when you get into the customization of how your character looks and how your ship looks and everything like that. So we'll go ahead and come out of the progress tab at this point in time. Notifications. This is a little drop-down window that will come down. These two with the little arrows that you can see here and here, those just mean that a window's about to come down. From there. So notifications, you'll get notifications if someone invites you to a match, or if a clan invites you, or someone sends you a private message, they'll show up in the notifications. Social is then your friends list. You can actually look at friends, you can look at someone that you're in a party. If you've brought your own crew, which is great, bring more people to this game. Clan, as in a clan, you can see how many members. Recent, if there are people who you've played with recently, whether they're still on and you want to tag with them again, and then of course if you've blocked anybody. We'll talk about blocked later. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're blocking someone because you dislike them. You might block them because they talk too much. So that is the social tab. After that, we're going to go ahead and come over to the customization areas. So starting again, we'll go in the same little pattern. Now I know, the minute I saw this game, the first thing that I wanted to do was to jump on as a pilot and go have these awesome ships. Well, taking the time to go a little bit slower, but this is where you can actually look at your ships. There are multiple different classes of ships. We'll go through them. Junker, Squid, Galleon, Pyramidion, Spire, Mobula, Goldfish, and then we're back. Things to note here. This is obviously the picture. You can rotate it by left-clicking and holding and spinning. You can name your specific ship, your design and everything like that. You can accept and remove changes as appropriate. It will start out as the default name of just matching the ship name. So originally this was called Junker, and I obviously renamed it Passing Fancy. Over here, this is your guide, your quick guide to what the ship can do. Over here you have your speed, you have your mobility, you have your hull, your armor, and your weapons. So ships are using this 5-point little diagram to kind of dictate how their class specializes. So a junker is marked as the easiest as far as difficulty to use, and this is marked as a pretty, obviously, you can take a look. It's got pretty strong armor, it's pretty mobile, it's got decent speed, decent guns, it's a little weak on hull. As you go to some of the others, the Squid, super fast, super agile, pretty bulky, but doesn't have the weapon slots and doesn't have a lot of armor. That's kind of how you can look at the different classes and decide, and as you play more, you'll get used to what necessarily those really mean in the kind of applicable world of the game when you're in an actual match and everything like that. The other thing to look at, as you can see down here, you can see some numbers that kind of spin as I rotate. These are your different weapon spots. So as a junker, which has quite a few, to a squid, which only has 3. You can see this little part of the diagram disappears because it doesn't have as many weapons. When you want to look at a weapon, so this one, if I'm looking at it, this first spot corresponds. You see this little dotted line appear when you hover on either side, either on the number or on the weapon at the bottom. And then you can see here on the bottom right, you see the quick details about it. And we'll get into this a little bit later when I talk about the specific weapons and everything like that. The quick way to change them is you left-click on it, and it'll bring up this option, and you can pick at all the different weapons. The beautiful thing about this is there's no gating in this game, which is terrific. If you want to put any gun off the start, you can put any gun you want. Some of them are going to be really particular to where they're best suited and everything like that, and you get quick little details about each one that tells you what they're best suited for. But ultimately, if you want to start out with a ship that has 5 Mercury field guns because you think that's awesome, you know what? You can do that. No one will stop you. People might not want to play with you, but no one can stop you. Other details to look at on this screen are the presets, A, B, and C. You can actually have different loadouts preset. I want to say you can change the name on these. Obviously, as you can tell, that's not something that I use. I go with the single preset for the ships, but we'll just call this one Junker by Trial. Spell that right? Yeah, I think I spelled that right. So yeah, and then Passing Fancy and Junker. Oh, interesting. Oh, I didn't save the name. Huh. See? Important things to learn. Junker by Trial. Save the name. Name change. Oh, so it is the singular name. That's interesting. That's really curious. I'm going to go ahead and, for the sake of wanting my name back, Passing Fancy. I do prefer my name. Anyway, but you can have the different weapon load slots and everything like that. The next one down is actually the recommended loadouts. So, in this game, as I've mentioned, you'll have your crew of 4 people. They're a gunner or engineers. You could, in fact, have other pilots, but that's usually not the best route. And we'll get into class specifications in another tutorial. But you can actually dictate what you would prefer people to have. So these are the different ammos if I'm looking at a gunner. Gunners carry 3 ammos, 1 pilot tool, and 1 repair tool. And you can actually go ahead and swap through those, pick what you think is the best for your particular ship. And you can do the same here, and you can make it a engineer. You cannot do a pilot loadout, of course, but you can have like 2 gunners or 2 engineer loadouts and everything like that. And when you're actually in the match screen, you can suggest to your team, to your crew, and say, hey, I'd like you to take this loadout, because I've thought about this, I built the ship around some of these specific components, and this loadout, that's going to be what serves you the best for that. The other thing to look at on the left is themes, decal, figurehead, paint. The team color is the 2 teams. This is just an aesthetic thing. All of these are your aesthetic panels. You have themes that you can put on the ship, which will change the accoutrements. Great word right there. On the actual ship deck. So one of them's like a royal, and it makes it look fancy, and your little guardrails look different. Using a mouse or something like that, you can zoom in and out so you get a little bit better idea of the ship and its close details and everything like that. Decals will actually appear on the balloon, and there's a set one of those that you can get. The figurehead is like the masthead on a ship. It's this little ornate object that will sit off the front. Depending on the ship type, it will come up here on the balloon, or it might be down here on the main section. The other thing is that you can actually paint your balloon. You cannot paint your main ship. You can only paint the balloon, and you can't paint the little flags or sails, I guess I'd call them, as those are the team identifiers. So, that, in conclusion, is pretty much the loadout for the ship loadout. And with that, I don't want to save any changes. We'll go ahead and go to the character version. So, on the character version, very much like with this last one, you get to design what you look like. Again, left-clicking and moving left and right on the mouse will allow you to rotate. You can also use these handy little buttons down here. And then you have your close-up, and then your full-body shot. Alright, you can be a female or a male in this game. It is totally up to you, whichever you prefer. You can even have a voice. There are voice commands in the match, and if you want a different voice...
Enemy sighted on starboard beam! Enemy sighted on starboard beam.
Obviously, you can tell I went with the one that sounds a little bit deeper because that's not what I do. Um, Costumes, their aesthetics only, like I've mentioned. These are all the items that you can buy in the store, and you can unlock them with the achievements and everything like that. As you saw, I was looking at the one, there was multiple goggles, there's different hats, or hairstyles, as it were, everything like that, and then goggles. You'll start with some, you'll buy some, or you won't. That's totally up to you. You can change your skin color, your hair, your eyes. You can actually make facial markings. If you look at this, you can see the little scars. Obviously, I'm wearing a mask, that won't help you as much. But as well notated, this is the appearance section. And then, as I mentioned, with dyes, you can actually click dyes to make things have a dyed color, and you can see the change on the actual character model. So now my shirt kind of has a bluish tint. I don't use dyes on this particular set. And then you can change your secondary, which on this one is just this little rope. On other ones it changes. I mean, they all have a different look and things like that. The other set is that, once again, you can have 3 loadouts, and you get to choose what you pick in your equipment sets. So, I'm going to change to another one really quick, just for the sake of ease. I've gone over to the gunner loadout, and you get 1 pilot equipment, 1 engineering equipment, and then your different ammos. You can have up to 3. And once again, you can left click on them, and you can go through and pick a different one, and as you hover over them, once again, you can see a little description about what they do and everything like that. Same with the engineering, you can look at the different engineering tools. And then, once again, the ammos. The other thing is that, also true as with the last one where you can have multiple load sets created already, you've got 3 that you can create so that you can quickly swap between them if you know you need a particular set or anything like that. And that is the character customization screen. And then really quick tour of the store. You'll be able to preview any changes that you make here on the right. You can ship, and you can do character changes and everything like that. You'll just pick, and as you can see, there's a little price tag. You can choose if you want to buy more than one, and then you can add it to your cart, and then your cart will update with a total. If you create a look and you're like, yes, that's what I want, just hit this add outfit to cart, and you'll see it say bloop, 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 and it will move over and kind of hover object over to here, and then you'll see everything moved over to here, and then you can go ahead and check out. If you have a special code for a free item, this is where you redeem it. When you go to checkout, you'll need to confirm items if you have something already and you're simply buying more of it. But it will also then link to your Steam wallet, and so if you don't have money, you'll go through that process and everything like that. That is the store. This one here is how you change your class. As I mentioned, there are 3 classes. There's the gunner, the engineer, and the pilot. So when you are in a match, and you want to, not in a current match, but when you're in a match lobby, when you're in a match lobby, if you want to change because someone else came in and has been like, hey, I really want a pilot, can you do something else? Would that be okay? You can go ahead and quickly swap over. And then your last one, when probably your most important, is this little bar here. The manuals. Now, as you play the game, these special volumes will fill up. And for all those tinker specialized theory crafters, this is where all your fun nitty-gritty details are. You get all the special item breakdowns for the weapons. And as you can see on the javelin, I'll go back to that one, or the harpoon, javelin. There's no details. It's because I haven't earned those in the game. You unlock these specific manual pages by using a weapon. That can be either in the actual matches, or you can spend time in practice working with all of these items so that you can fill out the pages. The other thing over here is the FAQ, which brings you to an external website. I'm going to go ahead and jump back in, though. But again, you've got one for weapons. You've got one for heavy artillery weapons. You've got one for the different maps that are on them. I don't have any of those yet, actually. And then you have reports on the different ship classes. And you can, once again, you can see this special diagram that breaks down their comparison graph, as they call it, and then all the different special details so that you can theory craft to your heart's content. The other thing, obviously, is the manual, the actual game manual, where you learn all kinds of specifics. It's really detailed. I highly recommend giving it a look, especially if you found a class that you're unsure of or if you have a question about it. And it goes through and breaks down all kinds of the important information. So that finishes that little section. We'll go ahead and jump down now to the chat section. So on the chat channel, or the chat section, you have global, you have clan, and you have match. Few key points to know, especially with the match. When you are in a match, it will not automatically swap to that. You'll still be able to see global. I think that's a lie, in fact. I'm going to go ahead and say that's a lie. I apologize. Global will still show in the lobby, but when you are in a full match, it will go ahead and swap to match when you're creating your crew lobby. There's a crew lobby and there's a match lobby. I'll show you those in a little bit. But in the global, or in the crew lobby, you'll still see global chat so that you can find other people and try to request other people. Say, hey, we have an open, somebody join. Clan, obviously, is for talking with your clan members. But other than that, one thing to note is down here you can see the little grayed out section that says press O to chat. You press O, it will obviously say clan. When you go to global, it says press J. One important thing to know is that when you are in global chat, you can't push O. O does not do anything. You must be on the clan tab. And when you are on the match, it's... Oh, nope. No, I did click it. It's the same thing. There's also this little script that allows you to expand the actual chat box so you can see more of it. And you can minimize it so that it's down here. There's no way to fully collapse it. Other note here, this is where you would actually quit the game when you are done playing. And then you have this quick little tally that tells you what version of game you are running and how many people are currently logged into the servers. Next is this final little bar, which I call the social bar. This is the little button that takes you direct to the forums. What's important to note about the forums is that when you first go to them to register, there's not really a registration. Once you've created your Guns of Icarus account in the game and started, you actually already have your forum credentials. It will simply be the username will actually be your email address that you registered with, not your in-game name like. So for mine, my in-game name is Quintessence, but my actual email, or my forum login is not. It will be my email, and then the exact same password for both. The need help is actually a way to send ideas or questions and everything like that, as it so says. It will actually just copy the email address, feedback@musegames.com. And then recommend us. You can recommend it to people. Go into Steam and you can say, hey, everybody, this game is fantastic. Please pay attention. And then you can go into Steam, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. So finally, we're going to go ahead and look at the play menu. One quick note, this little thing that says wanted right above it, this is a real thing. You can go ahead and click on it. And this is a section of in-game rules. All the details are right here. You can learn all about it, about whether you want to be a hunter or a bounty, and you can sign up. Hunters are listed, obviously. Hunter rules have all of their information here as well. I highly recommend it's something that you look into and read up first rather than have someone tell you about it. But important to say is that it can be a lot of fun, and I hear a lot of people being very excited about it. The other important thing is that it is for a period of time. So if you're not here to sign up when the session starts, you cannot until the next session opens up. But it will, as it shows you, it will tell you when the next session opens, which is awkward, because the hunting season should be open. Alright. And then you'll go ahead and hit back, which brings us back to this. Okay, so when you first pick up this game, and you've gone through and you've looked at all the things, or ignored all of the things that I've just told you, here's where it gets important. Tutorials. I highly recommend doing the tutorials. You can change your server as appropriate to your lag and everything like that. You can't on the tutorials, but you can in actual matches and everything like that. I recommend doing the basic training. Learn and do each of the pilot, the engineer, and the gunner. They're really, really good at giving you the quick run through and actually hands-on experience of playing. And then to kind of supplement that, you have the practice, where you can set up, this is where you can start changing your servers, by the way. You can actually set up how many ships, like 1 versus how many. If I want to go against, I don't know, you can set up a 2v2, it looks like is the highest. And you will actually have the ability to play against people if someone else is looking to join it, or you can play against the computer, or you can play against dummy targets and everything like that. It's strictly about just getting a feel and more hands-on experience outside of the tutorials. Important thing to note, say I set it to the 1v1. This is going to wait for a captain. You can't start it on your own. This is not how you would start playing against an AI. It's coming more in later editions of Guns of Icarus. Might have heard people talk about the adventuring and everything like that, which is actually the co-op against AI and such. But the important thing to know is that if you go 1 versus 0 and start, it will still bring you to the same game lobby, which this is where I said like it will change to the match chat and everything like that. But you can go ahead, there's no captains needed. You can go ahead and hit ready and it'll start the match, and then you'll actually come into an open environment where you can spawn your ship to be on fire, you can spawn moving targets, you can spawn fighting targets, you can spawn any number of things to go ahead and get yourself ready, and I'll get into that in a little bit. But basically to help give you a more interactive environment to help learn the game. And that pretty much sums up this kind of introduction video about this front screen and what you see when you first pick up the game, and a few thoughts and quandaries otherwise. My next video will actually be about the character classes. We'll discuss those a little bit more in detail, give you a better idea of what you're getting into, and some suggestions of how to get started in those. So thanks again for tuning in, everybody. Hopefully this has been a helpful little guide. As always, be sure and check out the online forums. Once again, this community is a terrific thing to be a part of. They've been really welcoming to me so far, and I highly encourage finding a way to get involved. The forums have an introduction post, get to know them, and everything like that. And then you can actually see the text version of this that I kind of pulled from in order to create this tutorial video. It's on there as well in the starter guides. If you have any questions, by all means, you're welcome to PM me. I'll be in the game as Quintessence. You can also find me on my website and on Twitch. The details are in the forum and in this video. If you have any other questions, you'll know where to find me. Great job, guys. Hope you enjoyed, and enjoy the friendly or ammo-filled skies.